much, Auntie Maureen. When the national anthem is sung like that, you just feel like you just want to cry and just raise your hands up. Can I hear hallelujah? Can we all be seated, ladies and gentlemen? So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this wonderful night. Tonight, we are celebrating 20 years of Seed. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. 20 years is a long time. Thank you very much. Apart from that, tonight we have a collaboration signing ceremony between WEAC Zambia and WWF. Another round of applause. And also, we will be launching BioFA, which I'll be talking about later on, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, I just want you to look at the person next to you and say, happy you're here tonight. Wonderful. So like I say, tonight we are celebrating. So at some point, ladies, you may have to just take off your heels and do some dancing. Gentlemen, we're allowing you to, take off your jackets and your ties and just relax because we are truly celebrating wonderful 20 years of Seed. So before we get started with the program, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize the presence of our guest of honor, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Elijah J. Muchima. We also want to recognize the presence of Ambassador of Germany to Zambia, Special Representative to COMESA, and Wagner Michel. Also, we would like to recognize the presence of Director, Non-Bank Financial Institution Supervisor from Bank of Zambia, Ms. Frida Temba. Also, Adelphi representatives Jonas and Lena, and of course, Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center Executive Director, Madam Nambola Kachumi. So to get the program started, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our first speaker, whose name I have been practicing for the past 3 days. We've had practitioners labs under the Seed and BioFA. For the past 3 days, trust me, I have been practicing, but I still can't say the full name. So allow me to just call him by his first name. And he's representing Adelphi, and his name is Jonas. He'll give his full name and he will open our program. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Jonas.
Thank you very much. And welcome everyone, especially also to our special guests and to our honorable guests that we have here in the room. Entrepreneurship and via eco-inclusive entrepreneurship coming from the private sector. This means the essence of what we do is really believing in ecological as well as social development that can be driven through innovative solutions that come from eco-inclusive enterprises in Zambia, in Malawi, and in many, many other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. We should never underestimate the innovative power and the impact that can be created through these on-the-ground activities and these ideas that are coming out of these enterprises. And I'm incredibly proud to also see so many familiar faces from our enterprises that have been supported through Seed over the last years here in the room. And you will all get to know some of these later. Seed has globally been active for the last 20 years. However, in Zambia, we also have quite an impressive history. So in Zambia, Seed has been active for the last 5 years. And what have we achieved in these years? We have actually supported over 2,000 enterprises through our incubation support. We have worked with 360 enterprises in our acceleration support, so the more mature enterprises. And we have done that in 41 countries on 3 continents, 75% of that in Africa. So I think this is really here the forefront of the innovative capacity that we have identified in the enterprise world. The support and the activity has happened across several sectors. What have all these sectors in common? They have in common that they all participated in our initial starter and incubation workshops through our acceleration and catalyzer support. And essentially, we've also realized there is only so much you can reach with working directly with the enterprises, but they are actually interacting in a bigger ecosystem. And that's also a good hook to what we have done here in the last 3 days. We have realized there's the world of finance out there, there's the policy world, and we can't ignore these ecosystems when we work with enterprise, and we have to bring these two worlds together. And that has been a key development in our support to ecosystem development and enterprise support together. Let me actually close with two last things. The one thing is we have drawn quite a few lessons over the last 20 years. If you're really interested in hearing more about that, please find a summary of these 20 lessons in 20 years from working with SEED at the back of the room. And let me just highlight a few of them. One of the most important ones is local solutions for global problems can be very impactful. Local innovation of eco-inclusive enterprises can be an absolute game changer in the fight against climate change and the fight for biodiversity protection and adaptation. And one of the most crucial things to work on in this world is finding a solution for this missing middle financing gap for MSMEs that do have this potential to support these developments that I had just mentioned. And as a very last thing, I would like to thank all our donors that have supported us over the last 20 years, which is currently primarily the German Ministry for the Environment, Nature, Conservation and Nuclear Safety via the International Climate Initiative. This is the government of Flanders, and these have been, especially in the earlier years of SEED, several UN agencies such as UNDP, UNEP and IUCN. With this, I would like to thank all of you for your attention, and I'm very, very happy to be here with you and celebrate this brilliant occasion with you.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We can do better than that. Thank you very much, Jonas. We heard the last name, so I don't need to go there. Still practicing, I promise you. Before we leave, I will pronounce it. Thank you very much. Indeed, the past 3 days have been remarkably amazing for all the practitioners and the players in the biodiversity sector. A lot of information has been shared, practices, challenges, and also the way forward. So very soon you will be hearing what has been planned from these 3 days. But right about now, I would love to call upon the Ambassador of Germany to Zambia, Special Representative to CAMESA, Madam Anne Wagner-Michel, to just give us her remarks. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, moderator. Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Elia Muchima, the Director Bank of Zambia in charge of non-bank financial institution supervision, Ms. Frida Tamba, the WWF Director, Nachilala, whom I haven't seen actually. Yeah, okay. You're not Nachilala, but good to have you here. The Executive Director of WEAG, Ms. Nambula Kachumi, representatives from Adelphi, like Jonas Restle Steinert, I think I can do it, yes. And all participants of the workshop you attended here in the last few days, participants of the BioFA and SEED projects, and all invited guests, including the media. Also for me, it is a great pleasure to join you here for the celebration of 20 years of SEED, the program for promoting sustainable entrepreneurship for sustainable development, as well as the official launch of the Zambian-German cooperation project Biodiversity Finance Accelerator today, a program that aims to mobilize biodiversity investments and to scale biodiversity positive entrepreneurship in Zambia. And whilst Jonas has spoken more about SEED, I will focus a little bit more on the BioFA project. We are all very aware that with regard to climate change, humanity stands at the edge of a cliff. And the choices that we make today will determine the lives of hundreds of millions of people and will have impacts for thousands of years. Climate change and the loss of biodiversity are closely linked. Climate change has altered marine, terrestrial, and freshwater ecosystems around the world. Biodiversity is the baseline for everything on the planet. It impacts food supplies, access to clean water. Without biodiversity, we don't have any future on our planet. It is clear that the industrialized countries are the main billion euros available annually for international biodiversity conservation. And how does that translate in practice? What does Germany concretely do to support international efforts to fight climate change and conserve biodiversity? Already in 2008, the German government established the International Climate Initiative. To date, this initiative has approved more than 950 climate and biodiversity projects in over 150 countries worldwide, with a total funding volume of 5 billion euros. Projects under the International Climate Initiative aim to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, to adapt to the impacts of climate change, to conserve biodiversity, whilst always at the same time promote sustainable development. Less than 3 weeks ago, we launched, for example, another project funded by the German government through this initiative here in Zambia on how Zambia can participate in and benefit from new financing sources offered by the international carbon market. The program we launched today also tackles the issue of access to finance and investment. The Biodiversity Finance Accelerator supports so-called biodiversity positive micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to access finance and to invest into growth. Biodiversity positive enterprises that are enterprises whose business model from the outset are designed to conserve and restore ecosystem and thus create positive biodiversity impacts. Biodiversity positive enterprises, for example, as most of you all know, for example, contribute to the conservation of forests by offering alternative energy sources like biogas or eco-briquettes that provide an affordable and efficient fuel substitute to charcoal or firewood. They also help the restoration of ecosystems by regrowing and commercially cultivating indigenous species, for instance, used to produce natural soaps or essential oils. In doing so, they do not only have a positive impact on local biodiversity, but also create jobs and income for local communities that are part of their value chain or distribution network. But the BioFA project also trains the other side, that is the financial institutions and other players in conservation finance, to co-create innovative financing instruments for those biodiversity positive SMEs. And I think this aspect is very important because the best ideas for growth can only be put into practice when there is access to finance. And I think this banner there illustrates very well what it's about. It's about biodiversity entrepreneurship, but also on the finance aspect. Zambia's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan underlines the need for a strong private sector involvement towards the implementation of biodiversity targets. MSMEs play a vital role as they offer bottom-up solutions with their innovative business models. At the same time, small enterprises are the backbone of Zambia's economy, accounting for 97% of all the businesses, contributing to 70% of the country's GDP and generating 88% of the employment. While there are many MSMEs across Zambia offering solutions for biodiversity conservation, the full potential of these enterprises is yet to be fully realizes. And this is where the BioFA project comes in. First of all, it offers capacity building to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to improve their business models and to be able to increase their opportunities of accessing finance. It trains aspiring entrepreneurs like you on how to replicate other successful business models. It organizes and facilitates practitioner labs like the last few days and finance academies where different stakeholders come together to develop tangible solutions that improve access to finance for those MSMEs. In Zambia, 14 MSMEs have already gone through the BioFA training to improve their capacities and to improve their business models. And 25 entrepreneurs are expected to be trained during the replication bootcamps in October. And most of you have already participated in the practitioner labs, where you discussed, among other things, solutions on how to tackle the challenges of the lack of markets for biodiversity positive MSMEs. Again, as 3 weeks ago, I am very happy that Zambia was chosen as one of the countries in the region where this project is being implemented. The choice recognizes that the government of the Republic of Zambia follows an ambitious green agenda. And by now, we know that this is more than just window dressing. Zambia has a thriving green entrepreneurship landscape with a vast innovation potential in the biodiversity conservation area that has been widely recognized by other international initiatives like SEED, the Global Partnership for Action on Sustainable Development and the Green Economy. Zambia is also a forerunner country of the Biodiversity Finance Initiative, BioFin, that is also financially supported by the German government. The BioFA project is building on these achievements by providing complementary support to biodiversity positive enterprises and financiers in Zambia. Zambia is thus also taking a pioneering position. I am confident that many of the ideas and solutions developed in the context of the BioFA project can also be used in other African countries and internationally. To conclude, I want to thank the implementing organizations, Adelphi in Germany and WERC here in Zambia, acting on behalf of the German Federal Ministry for the Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety, for their efforts to make this program a success in Zambia. And last but not least, I would like to thank the Zambian government again for its strong commitment to global climate and biodiversity protection and its engagement in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador, for that insight you provided us. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I do know that Madam Ambassador did give some insight on BioFA, but please allow me to give further insight of.
Mine is very simple, but to basically highlight some of the key learnings and next steps within the BioFA project, and to share with you some of the outcomes that we are seeing from the interventions that have been established since the activation of BioFA in Zambia. Honorable Minister, the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center has been a partner to Adelphi through initiatives prior to the BioFA project. We have worked with SEED to support biodiversity positive entrepreneurship since 2019 through SEED Catalyzer, SEED Accelerator. And in the early stages of establishing our work within this sector, we were always asked, are there any enterprises that are really starting and growing in the green economy? Today, I'm proud to share that the community is growing, and it is growing through collaboration and through realization that there's actually real intersection among key players within the ecosystem, whether it's from the public sector, the private sector, and other equally important sectors that are highlighting some of the opportunities that we see in the emerging sector and subsectors of the green economy. So we are very proud to be supporting acceleration of Zambian enterprises from early stage to growth stage and taking them through very critical steps that enable them to position themselves better in establishing business models that speak to the needs of supporting the environmental conservation and preservation opportunities. So in 2021, we activated the BioFA project in Zambia, and Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center is jointly implementing this with Delphi, with SEED, with our counterparts in Malawi. And so far, we've had a number of activities that have built onto how we could better mobilize investment within the biodiversity positive ecosystem by bringing together very key aspects of the economy, which is the private sector through entrepreneurship and private sector development, but also a key segment of the economy, which is the financial sector, that I think at this point is doing amazing things in terms of enabling an environment that will produce and develop instruments to meet the entrepreneurs at their point of need. I will not speak much, but I would just to thank most sincerely all our partners that have responded to our call. It's been an exciting 3 days, very engaging, where we've had players from the financial sector, from the banks. We started with an official opening supported by the Bank of Zambia through the Director, Bank of Zambia Non-Financial institutions, non-bank institutions supervisory section by Ms. Frida Tamba. And we do appreciate the effort that Central Bank is contributing in terms of enabling establishment of frameworks and guidelines to further this sector. We also heard of some of the experiences that the Zambian entrepreneurs are facing in terms of developing themselves and positioning themselves for funding. Most of them have to do with, a market that is growing, but the inability of these enterprises to raise their capacity and develop business models that are bankable, that are attractive to the kind of capital and financial flow that we are seeing in the country. Luckily, Zambia has positioned itself, I think, through Honorable Minister, your government, through the Ministry of Green Economy, Ministry of Lands, Ministry of SMEs, working together with the financial sector through Bank of Zambia in establishing a framework that will guide the country in terms of moving faster and positively towards creating awareness, but also really engaging in interventions that activate the different subsectors to see where the opportunities are. So we've heard that there are different forms of sources that are coming in, whether it's from the private equity investment sector. We also do have private funds, public funds, and different instruments that are supporting entrepreneurs that are facing challenges within the sector to think about how they could better, prototype and develop solutions to align their business models. Today, I'm happy to, first of all, sincerely thank the many partners that have come on board, WWF, who today we will be signing a memorandum of understanding that will enable the both of us to really take this a step further and see how we could rapidly scale opportunities for the enterprises that we are supporting to access some of these opportunities that I have shared. And this also really speaks to some of the gaps that we are seeing, and it's a call to action and an extension of invitation to all the other key players. You are invited to come on board and partner to see how we could expand this platform and ensure that we're really harnessing some of the tools, networks, and opportunities that lie in the sector. So thank you very much. Thank you most sincerely, Honorable Minister, for attending this occasion. We thank you for your support. And Ambassador, I'd like to thank you most sincerely. You've been an ardent supporter of our work, the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center, which brings me to finally mentioning that our goal and commitment remains to ensuring that we are supporting movement of SMEs, particularly women-led businesses and youth, from the margins of the economy into the mainstream. And we do this through addressing various gender barriers in entrepreneurship. So at WEAC, we say stop talking and start doing. Thank you very much.
Just say, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen present here, it gives us a great pleasure to stand before you on this, during this evening, as we mark the beginning of an important partnership that will identify, promote, and foster enterprise development and green enterprise ecosystem strengthening in Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, Zambia potentially sits on an explosive youth unemployment crisis. According to the Zambia Labor Force survey of 2020, youth unemployment was reported at about 19.9%, and of this, 17.6% were males, and the women youth unemployment rate was standing at 22.7%. The combined rate of unemployment and potential labor force was estimated at 37.3%, where 44.1% was for females and 31.8% was for males. The report also indicates that in rural areas, 62% of youths are neither in employment or they're neither conducting any entrepreneurship activities, or they are not in training, which is abbreviated as NEET, N-E-E-T, compared to 42% in the urban areas, with female youth net being higher than the male youth net at estimated 69.7%. It is because of these statistics that WWF and WEAC thought it wise to come together and sign this memorandum of understanding, which has 5 main objectives. And these are: 1, to provide linkage to potential markets, business development services, and access to finance in a supportive environment to help women-led and youth-led enterprises to succeed. Secondly, this MOU would like to offer mentor-driven programs to help businesses adopt sustainable business models, access tools and resources that expose them to start up and scale up business model, while helping them to transition from informal to the formal sectors. Thirdly, we'd like to see enterprises receive tailor-made experiential-based education and resources devised to deal with specific needs to start, scale up, and grow businesses in various locations, including some of the rural areas where WWF operates, such as the Upper Zambezi, where Honorable Muchima is actually the Member of Parliament, Kafue Flats, and many other rural environments that support the rich biodiversity areas that we have in Zambia. Fourthly, we'd like to support green and sustainable financial solutions based on science-based criteria that create measurable environmental and social benefits, as well as competitive financial returns. And lastly, which is the 5th objective, is to build a pipeline of bankable projects that not only generate financial returns, but also protect the environment. A guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, I must also mention that our collaboration with WEAC will help Zambia reach its Vision 2030 goal of becoming a peaceful, inclusive, resilient country with a diversified and industrialized economy. This is consistent with the 8th National Development Plan's strategic pillar number 1, which is about economic transformation and job creation and strategic development, as well as pillar number 3, which focuses on environmental sustainability. Further to this is consistent with WWF Zambia's 2022 to 2026 conservation strategy, which seeks to contribute to conservation of nature while supporting the nation in its sustainable approaches to achieving a green economy. In conclusion, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank members of the teams that contributed to the successful establishment of this partnership we are just about to sign. Our partnership provides an opportunity to address gender-related issues through program design, development, and implementation of concrete adaptation projects and businesses. This partnership will allow us to promote gender inclusivity. In addition, WWF desires to encourage women-led and youth-led small and medium-sized businesses to take advantage of this opportunity provided by our two organizations in order to accelerate, incubate, and link them to capital and markets. I look forward to the great work ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Mr. Nyirenda. We really appreciate your insight. You know, partnerships kind of remind me of a marriage ceremony. It feels like it's an exchange of vows that just happened right now. And just like a marriage ceremony, we need witnesses. So on behalf of WEAC Zambia, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to call upon Hope Mambwe, the biodiversity expert, to stand in as a witness on behalf of WEAC Zambia. Madam Nambola also asks you to come forth as we sign the partnership. And on behalf of Worldwide Fund, the witness shall be Fungai Musana, the Corporate Engagement Manager. So I'll call upon Mr. Moses Nyirenda to come forth as well so that we can sign this MOU. And there we have it. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The MOU has been signed and you have been party to this partnership. We have heard what it's about, so we look forward to all being part of the amazing work that is about to happen between WEAC Zambia and WWF. Thank you very much, Madam Nom.
Interesting today when I hear that, let's stop talking, let's do it. Very, very interesting theme. And I hear you're celebrating 20 years. How come we haven't known you? Yes, okay. Good, 8 years in Zambia. We need you to spread out to our rural parts of this country. I've been sharing with the ambassador here that you haven't seen the potential that is in rural areas. The informal sector actually is dominated in rural parts of this country, but we always concentrate in urban areas. Let's stop talking, let's do it. Zambia actually needs you. needs this institution, this initiative. May I say all protocols observed, if I omitted any? Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank the conveners of this event, the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center, and the BioFA for inviting my office to grace this special occasion. I'm aware that this evening, the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center and the BioFA will be launching the Biodiversity Finance Accelerator program in Zambia at the same time, celebrating 20 years of promoting entrepreneurship for sustainable development. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we are now all aware, climate change and biodiversity loss pose substantial threats to Zambia's key sectors such as tourism, forest, health, energy and water, agriculture, fisheries and livestock, infrastructure, to mention a few. Since most of these sectors are important for the provision of the jobs, livelihoods and ecosystems, goods and services for the people and local communities in particular, climate change and biodiversity loss both have the potential to cause poverty and reduce gross domestic product. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, it is important to note that some of the main drivers of biodiversity loss include deforestation and forest degradation, land degradation, encroachment in protected areas, expansion of human settlements, and sustainable fishing, poaching, and controlled human settlements, as well as the spread of invasive alien species, among others. Therefore, the new Dawn government, led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is committed to taking urgent action for the country to mitigate and adapt to the effects of climate change and conserve and protect biodiversity to ensure a sustainable future and prosperity for the Zambian people. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the new Dawn government has shown this commitment by implementing ambitious programs and strategies in the 8th National Development Plan that will overcome constraints to environmental sustainability. For example, the government is strengthening the policy and regulatory framework on climate change, natural resources and environmental management, green growth, among others. These will boost the coordination mechanism and promote the transition to a modern green economy. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, furthermore, the government is in the process of beginning the domestication of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, which was adopted in Montreal, Canada in December 2022 during the 15th session of the Conference of Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity. This framework aims at significantly halting and reversing biodiversity loss by 2030 at the national level and global level. To contribute to this global target, the government will aim to revise the 2015 National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan to align it to the global framework and to the cross-sectoral policies and plans that have an impact on biodiversity. The revised National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan will domesticate best practices on the protection and sustainable utilization of biodiversity in the country. Government will also conduct national ecosystem assessment to come up with the latest baseline on the status of biodiversity and ecosystem goods and services.
Two, three.
Yes, we have been celebrating 20 years of seed. We have also witnessed the collaboration signing ceremony between WEAC Zambia and WWF. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations on that. Apart from that, we have also witnessed the launch of BioFA in Zambia. And right about now, just as Lena has said, we have a cocktail in the other room.